Alright, so this is going to be my review of Zero Point. This was part of the independent haul that Chris sent me. Chris, thank you once again. Yeah, so this was written and drawn by Augustus Graham Nakamura. This was, again, like part of the indie haul, and the reason why I decided to do this now is because, and maybe this is just a me thing, I really hate awkwardly sized books. I really dislike awkwardly sized books that aren't, like, normal sized. Like, it was really, like, stack-wise, it was kind of weird because, like, it was hiding underneath, like, the other pile. So I was like, I gotta get this out, as well as the other book I did. I did another comic that was, God, what was it? Like, I'm forgetting what it was, but, yeah. There was another comic that I had done that was of this size as well, and I was like, yeah, it's really kind of fucking with me on the pile I gotta work with. So yeah. Anyway, but it kind of, there's a reason why this one is smaller. Like this one, there's a legit reason as to why this one is a smaller book than usual. That is because, as you can probably guess from the cover, Zero Point is a homage to a lot of, like, manga. Like, a lot of, like very much a manga book. Except, you know, it reads from the proper way rather than the manga way. So, yeah, it's meant to be, like, invoke that. And invoke that in multiple more ways than one. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the story real fast. The story is centered around a assassin named Bird, who has been tasked with one more mission before he can get off scot-free. We know this story, but however, the person he was sent to kill gets taken out by another assassin named Cat. Cat and Bird eventually discover that there's something else going on that involves her brother, and it leads to a bloody showdown with the Mafia. So, what I like about Zero Point is that, here's my thing, is that when I read a lot of American comics that try to invoke the anime manga design, they really suck at it. Like it really does feel like a cheap knockoff. Like it's like I'm reading Temu version of manga. Like I will read books like those, but like deep down I'm like, you didn't capture it. You captured the mom, can we read manga at home? No, son. Can we get new manga? No, son, we have manga at home. That thing. But this actually feels like a manga. Like, I have never seen an American comic be able to capture the manga feel as a whole. I don't really know what I can show you because this is a pretty graphic book, both sex-wise and violence. That'll work. See? Like, it captures that manga feel to a T. Like, shading, ink, everything. It feels natural. It all feels natural. So, yeah. So the comic is pretty one and done. This book really reminds me of, like, a lot of classic 90s anime. Like Gunsmith Cats, Eat Man, Perfect Blue. Like, well, not Perfect Blue, but, like, a lot of, like, classic 90s action anime. That's what really gives me a lot of feel to it. Just the style of it, just the story of it. And it's a story we've seen, like, 100 times over. But really, it's pretty neat. The action is very fluid. Like, there's a great scene towards the end where the comic suddenly, like, switches over to a POV. Like a POV shot, and it's just like you guys remember when that god-awful Doom movie with The Rock did that, like, the one thing everybody liked, which was the POV moment where he's just shooting his way through monsters and zombies, which I don't know why the fuck we have zombies in a... Fuck that movie. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. But yeah, there's a lot, there's a great POV shot in here that goes on for, like, about 3 pages, and I've never seen that in a manga or any comic for that matter. This book, the one thing, like, that does bother me is that a lot of the characters do feel pretty standard. Like, Bird doesn't like Bird, Cat, all of them, like especially the relationship between Bird and Cat just happens. Like they're at war with each other, and then the next thing you know, they're fucking. And I do mean they fuck. Like it shows that they fuck, and it just kind of happens. There's also another character who is Bird's mentor, Crow. But then for some reason, at the end of the book, it's like they hint at that Crow isn't real, or Crow is like the Bird's dark side. That comes out of fucking nowhere, along with these weird dream sequences involving a bird. Maybe I just read into it wrong, but it just feels so out of left field. That like this weird, possible multiple personality thing that comes out of nowhere in this like action-oriented, like supposed to be grounded in some kind of realism kind of book. The other side characters, like Hannah, like this girl named Hannah who's obsessed with Bird, and she's basically meant to be like Harley Quinn. She's just there. Same with this other character named Tony. And here's another gripe I have with the book, is that Tony is meant to be 70 years old. He looks like he's in his 30s at maximum. But then they say he's 70, and I'm like, really? So it's kind of... And then there's a police chief who you think is going to factor in more, but really she's just there for like 2 important scenes, one of which where she's flirting with Tony, and Hannah goes off and says, hey, stop flirting with the cougar. I'm like, she's a cougar? She looks like she's in her 20s. But having said all that, I still like this book. The action is some of the best action I've seen in a manga inspired comic. Again, this gives me a lot of feel of like classic 90s anime, even like modern 2000s anime like Black Lagoon. So I would say give this a shot. Like if you can find this somewhere, it's a very open shut book. I like it just how it ends. It's kind of it doesn't leave off on like for sequel bait or something, but I will admit the ending is just kind of like, huh? But having said all that, the action's definitely worth it. I think the comic is the artwork is beautifully done. So yeah. And this is from a guy who reads Spawn comics like junk food. So, yeah. Anyway, so there you go. Once again, I'd like to thank my good friend Chris, a.k.a. the Mount Vernon Kid. Thank you once again, brother. And yeah, once again, hope you all enjoyed this review. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.